In today's video, we're gonna dive into the new hybrid engine of the Porsche 911 Carrera. What is going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. It is your boy Javi here, bringing you another auto tech news. First, before we get the video started, I want to tell you guys that I love you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for subscribing to the channel and becoming a subscriber here. We're almost at 10,000 subscribers. Join me as I cover all this automotive news, content, my own projects, other people's projects, reviews, and auto car shows. So what is going on? The 2025 Porsche 911 Carrera GTS Hybrid is here, but it's definitely not going to ruin the 911. A lot of people are having resistance because when they see hybrid, they think a lot of weight going into a sports car. It's going to ruin the 911, and that's not the case. We're actually going to talk about the engine and everything that the hybrid brings to this vehicle, and it benefits it because this is an amazing vehicle. And when you think about the hybrid stuff that is being added to the 911, it's only about 110 pounds that gets added to the vehicle, but there is some weight reduction that Porsche has done. And I think after maybe not even liking it too much, saying, man, you know, the old 911, it's a certain way, and now you're going to bring a hybrid into it, and there's a resistance because people don't want to put the weight on it. It's actually a pretty good car, well thought out, about well powered, well balanced. So let's get into it right away. Let's see what this engine brings and what are some of the stuff that benefits this vehicle from the hybrid. So the 911T hybrid. First things first, the T hybrid is an amazing new technology that they added. So the battery for the T hybrid, it's a 1.9 lithium battery that features almost a chemistry like the Formula One. So with this engine, there's no more drive belt, there's no more starter, and the battery is actually placed in the front of the vehicle, in the front axle, and it weighs a total of 73 pounds, which is right there. You're starting off the bat with amazing lightweight. So in efforts to make some lightweight, Porsche has decided that at no cost, it's going to delete the rear seats. Like, you know, it's a no cost option if you want to delete the rear seats. And it's kind of like you don't really put people behind a 911 in the back seats or anything like that. So the battery is in the front axle. There's also going to be another small battery in the rear, but that battery is going to be for like low voltages and stuff like that, and it keeps the car on it pretty much turns on like all the electrical and stuff like that. And the front battery is the one that's used to turn on the vehicle. So it is a 3.6 liter. It's not a 3.0 like the old twin turbo one. It is a 3.6 liter, and it has a larger single turbo. So when we think about larger single turbo, we think, okay, we got spool lag, we got boost lag. That's actually not the case with this vehicle, because Porsche has integrated an electrical motor that spools up the turbo or the turbine at high RPMs in the speed of 0.8 seconds, which is about third of the time of the twin turbo fitted on the 3.0 liter, which takes about 3 seconds to reach the peak boost. Now, instead of the wastegate, when there's a surplus boost, the little motor regen breaks the turbo, sending power back to the battery. Since pretty much Porsche is obsessed with weight, the combined weight of the turbo and the manifold is about 59.5 pounds, which is about the same as the twin turbo from the 3.0 liter. Now this one is pushing out 478 horsepower and 420 feet-pounds of torque, which is handling up on the 3.0. That's 450 and 405. Now, the traction motor in the PDK, so another turbo lag countermeasures that Porsche pretty much did, is a permanent magnet motor that attaches directly to the input shaft of the PDK transmission. It is a PDK transmission. It can produce a continuous 55 horsepower and 110 feet-pounds of torque, and an extra 65 horsepower in a 10-second burst, which there's no EV mode pretty much. So one thing is noted, that there is no manual transmission offer for the T hybrid model. So you got to think that if you're buying the 911 Carrera GTS, there is no manual transmission on it. So 3.6 liter turbo boxer engine, electrical turbocharger, e-turbo, integrated electrical machine in the PDK, and a high voltage battery of 400 volt. So the GTS combines an electrical turbocharger with an electrical machine on the PDK and a high voltage battery, which is not only going to ensure you high performance and high power, it's gonna bring you low emissions too. So all those inputs add up about 532 horsepower and 449 feet-pounds of torque, enough to drop the weight to power ratio from 7.2 pounds slash horsepower to 6.3, which Porsche claims will drop on the 911 0 to 60 time over the ongoing GTS about 0.4 seconds. So now we're seeing that this 911 hybrid, T hybrid, it's going to be the new power beast, and I believe so too. So some of the chassis upgrades for this vehicle is the suspension on the 911 hybrid. It's lower about 0.4 inches. The active roll control and front end lift system now operates at the hybrid system voltage of 400 volt. So they're much quicker and reactant. And of course, the rear axle steering is now standard. Wheels switch from 9.0 by 10 front to 12 by 20 rear to 8.5 by 20 or 11.5 by 21 with the rear wing with the rears wearing wider rubber like 315s by 30 versus the 305 by 30. And there is a new there's a new wheels that use center lock also. So a lot of the new things that's included with this motor is the fact that the hybrid battery is in the front axle, and you have that weight reduction, and now you have another battery in the back that's keeping everything else on, which is lightweight. It's actually pretty cool. So there's a weight to balance distribution there. The fact that you have an electrical motor in the turbo means that your turbo spools quick and it's instantaneous, basically deleting turbo lag or boost lag, if you want to call it that. The base price on the 2025 GTS-T hybrid starts at $166,000 to $187,000, depending on what the options that you go for. It is the 3.6. It is so the engine is the transmission. The transmission is an 8-speed twin clutch auto, and it's weighed around the car itself weighs around 3,500 pounds to 3,900 pounds, depending on what you again, what are these options that you get. The 0 to 60 is 2.9 to 3.0 seconds, which is a bit faster than the 3.0. Now, some of the stuff that covers on the engine are actually pretty good to see that Porsche has integrated this. I think that the T hybrid, at some point, I even might have bashed it when I spoke to some of my friends saying, man, this is not going to work. This 911, you're kind of taking away from the 911, but the electrical power steering never took from the 911 either. So that's something that didn't affect it. So maintaining a strict 4.7 to 1 air fuel ratio, which is known as the Lambada one, at all times typically requires dialing back a spark advance to prevent harmful knocks. One of the things that Porsche did with this vehicle was that you don't need pretty much a turbo timer, and that's actually pretty cool because you could actually turn off the vehicle even when the turbo's hot. And it's actually Porsche, this is what Porsche says: the turbo features a typical oil cooled bearing with water cooling of the housing and the motor, completed with the pumps that keeps the fluids flowing if the engine shuts down while the turbos are hot. According to Porsche, this single turbo and manifold again weighs 59 pounds is what I was saying before. So you don't need even a turbo timer anymore. So this is some of the stuff that you're getting with this. You get no spool, no turbo lag, and you could actually turn it off after the turbo's hot. If you've been running it down the track or you've been drag racing, the old cooler bearing with water cooling keeps the fluids flowing even if the engine shut down while the turbo's hot in order to cool down the turbo. So the electric assisted turbocharger, and we have this graph here, it's 11 kilowatts recuperation. Electrical motor increases the exhaust acceleration. Faster chargers, what we were talking about, possibly for exhaust gas recuperation. Integrated electrical motor SAS generator, compressor wheel, turbine wheel, air intake, compressed air to intercooler, exhaust gas from engine, exhaust gas to exhaust system, and the post inverter. So if we see here on number which is number 1, is the motor, the integrated electrical motor. So before the actual turbine or the actual shell, which you will call it in the front, you have the motor in the middle. So the electrical motor, and that's actually cool, the electrical motor can draw out as much as 20 kilowatts, which is about 27 horsepower when spooling at such high RPMs, but the torque is actually a little bit low, so it's about 2.6 pounds-feet of torque. So the good news is that high-speed engines with excess exhaust pressures, rather than blowing off of the wastegate, the motor regenerates the engine. Listen to this: regenerates the engine, drawing as much as 11 kilowatts, which is about 15 horsepower out and returning it to the battery or the electrical motor if the battery is full. Now, the high voltage battery in the front, like I said, it weighs about 73 pounds. It is a 1.9 kilowatt hour battery that operates at 400 volts, and that to itself is insane, which is very low weight. So when they call it the no fuel electric mode, it says Porsche, the 2025 Porsche 911 Carrera GTS T Hybrid has no pure EV mode for sneaking around the neighborhoods and stuff like that. You have the combine of that with the engine. Compared to the 3.0 liter by turbo, the 3.6 liter engine is about 110 millimeters lower than the current 3.0 liter by turbo. Again, you have no drive belt, you have no starter, because the battery is the one that's going to start the car. It's the one that's going to use for the lift system up and down, and that's actually pretty cool. So what do you guys think? Tell me, what do you guys think about this new Porsche design, this new engine design, and this new hybrid that we all thought was kind of going to do some harm to the 911? It's not. This is very well thought out about. They thought this over very well. This was very well placed, very well balanced, and I'm actually very excited and happy that Porsche did this. This is actually a beast of a car, and I think is a very well put together car. Now, if I had the funds to splurge, and you would say regular 911 to the T Hybrid, my vote is on the T Hybrid. Let me know in the comments. I'll read you. If you guys are liking the content, remember to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.